Who you are is not who you have to be. Guys, this is how you redefine and realign your life. This is how you change your life. And if you are making excuses right now on why you can't do it, you are the problem. But let me tell you this. You are also the one that can change things. But somehow I made their divorce about me. Why didn't I matter enough so that you could make your relationship work? And so I became the gatekeeper of my emotions. I became the gatekeeper of my actions. I became the gatekeeper of what went out of my mouth. Spending time in the gym, redefining and redeveloping my body and my health, because I wanted a healthy body, and I wanted a healthy mind, and I wanted a healthy soul. If I couldn't trust me, then how could I ask my wife to trust me? If I couldn't trust me, how could I ask my children to trust me? Right now is the time to change your life, and I'm going to give you some tools on how to do that. And I'm here to connect with you if you want help. If you do not want to go this road alone, I am here to help you. Welcome back to another episode of Man versus Marriage. It is I, your humble servant, the Q Dog in the Moran Family Studio, running a video, a message to you. And this message is simply this. Who you are is not who you have to be. And I want you to know that. And who knows the real you better than you? Who knows what's truly going on inside of you? Not what you show to everyone. If the outside and the inside are not congruent, then you are not truly being who you are. And how do I know that? Because I lived that life for many, many years. On the outside, I was a happy dude, jolly, as a matter of fact. On the inside, I was disappointed. I was sad. I didn't have the answers that I was looking for on how to truly change my life. I've been a man of faith since 13. And it took me getting to about the age of 30 to understand what I truly needed to do. And I'm thankful for the journey, and I'm thankful that you are here. So I'm going to state this one more time. Who you are is not who you have to be. Now, I'm going to tell you in my younger years who I was and what I was looking for. And if any of this relates to you and where you are, know this, that right now is the time to change your life. And I'm going to give you some tools on how to do that. And I'm here to connect with you if you want help. If you do not want to go this road alone, I am here to help you. You can email me, Quincy@mvsmpodcast.com. So, who was I? I was a guy who loved people, happy, entertainer, always wanting to make people feel special. Love to make people laugh. Someone very sincere. I was as authentic as I thought I could be. Because truly, I was living something and didn't realize how confused I was on the inside. See, at about the age of 5 years old, my parents divorced. And my youngest memory, was there in Adger, Alabama, and I'm in the station wagon with my grandpa, my mother, my sister, my younger brother, and we're going somewhere. At 5 years old, I really wasn't sure what was happening. And the next thing you know, my dad pulls up. He comes to the car holding 3 paper sacks. In them is some fruit, some candy. He hands them off, and we drive away. Little did I know, my parents were getting a divorce. They were splitting up. My mom's tactic was to make him think about the things he was doing and the life that he was living. And I think, as I understand it, my dad took full advantage of her leaving and they ended their relationship. And so in that moment, I was not aware of this, but somehow I made their divorce about me. And I thought, why was I not good enough to fight for, Dad? Why was I not good enough to fight for, Mom? Why didn't I matter enough so that you could make your relationship work? And I had no idea that that very lie was driving me to become a people pleaser. And so I would continually sell myself out. I would overdo helping people, planning myself to the minute, hoping that by doing all of this, I would finally matter to someone. I didn't realize that was the case. My heart for people hasn't changed. My love for people hasn't changed. What has changed? The understanding that I mattered all along. The understanding that that situation was not even about me, but for some reason, I personalized it and it had me stuck in the past. Does any of that sound familiar? Do you find yourself being a people pleaser, overcompensating so that people make you feel like you matter? It could be something else. There could be something else in your life that you're overcompensating. And so your attitude, your attitude is terrible and you continually take off on people. Maybe you feel like everything is happening to you, so you tend to feel like you're a victim in every situation. Wherever you find yourself, I really want you to ask yourself if you're happy with who you are. Because ultimately, I was not. I was not happy with who I was. And I found myself when I got married, it was 315 pounds. And as our relationship went on into marriage, I found myself at over 380 pounds. And so I was trying to solve emotional pain with external factors. And all it did was make me more and more unhealthy. And I had been a big guy my whole life. Well, let me say my whole life. I'd been a big guy since I was 8 years old. Really, 12 years old was that really painful and defining moment when I was nearly 200 pounds and getting weighed in front of everyone in PE class. And see, those moments, they stick in you, they stick with you. And so I was constantly searching for meaning and validation. And I was overcompensating what I would do, how I would approach people. It would cause me to drive in hot and fast when I was making friends, my work colleagues, and I would just overdo it, overcommit. And I found in life that while relationships, friendships started off really strong, eventually I would come to find out that the person I was befriending or working hard with they were not always in as deep as I was. And so I would allow myself to get taken advantage of. I did not know better. I just knew that there was something inside of me that was not fulfilled. And for some reason, I couldn't figure out why I felt like I didn't matter, even to the people who loved me most. It was very difficult. And, just going through, like I never knew about self development. Like I never knew about challenging yourself to become someone greater than you are. And so going through this process, um, at church, it was a program called Living Life by Design. Some of these things started to get uncovered. And then they reared their ugly head again, and there was more discovery during a marriage conference that my church put on. And I started to see the places in my life where I needed positive affirmation, and I was not getting it at home. So I was out chasing it because I was lacking it. And what I was lacking and chasing, I was trying to derive from overcompensating my actions and my commitments with people outside of my home. I can't I can't articulate to you enough that I felt like I didn't matter, that I wasn't good enough for fighting for. And it wasn't until my cousin Shane and Michelle presented a book to me called Dare to Dream by Julia Gentry that I discovered that I had been living a lie for such a long time. Now, if you back up, I had begun changing my life because I just found out about this book approximately 3 years ago. At the time of this recording, it's 2025. And so when I give you these tools that help you redefine and realign the man that you want to be, I have now the ability to share with you how to discover those lies that you're living by in your life. And so, in addition to what I did to get me on the path, I definitely want to share with you um, how to discover those lies. And I kind of did already. So, when I went through this Living Life by Design, and then I went through this marriage conference at my church, I think it was like an 8-week course. Jeannie and I identified that we did not think the same about our relationship. That we didn't think the same. There's a bit of a controversy on where we lined up, but as I remember it, I'll tell the story that way. As I remember it, I put our relationship at a 7. Jeannie put our relationship at a 5. And of course, I was offended. And so part of the process was discovering how to bring us closer together. Ultimately, I wanted to bring her from a 5 to a 7. I don't want to bring us from a 7 to a 5. And so that's where the work had to begin. So after Living Life by Design, after this marriage class, my brother and I had tried to get on to The Biggest Loser. And we really had a great opportunity to go out and apply in person in Orange County, California. Things went very well. And the crowd that day told him and I that they were sure we were going to get a call back. We didn't. A few weeks later, ultimately, they did call us. And so one of the producers, um, she loved us. I got Josh on the phone, and we started to entertain her like we normally do. And she really wanted us on the show. And I said, hey, she said, I'm taking this straight to my casting director right now. I love you guys. I want you on the show. And I said, hey, either way, would you send me an email and let me know what the answer is? And so the answer was no. And Josh and I then started our weight loss journey on YouTube. And we started out calling ourselves the Biggest Loser Rejects. And we had the idea that we were going to build a community of rejects from the Biggest Loser auditions. And then we were going to get our life in order. We were going to get healthy. We were going to lose weight, etc. And eventually that evolved into um, the Moran Brothers, which we had a great run for a couple of years. And our weight loss journey is there. And there are some keys as I go back and look at myself, um, just in reviewing those, because we'll watch these videos every once in a while here at the house, because all the kids are in them. They're all adults now, but they were very, very young, 12, 13 years ago. And some of those things that I discovered, I was not happy with my internal temperature. Like, I was so fast to get angry at certain people in my life, and I didn't like that. And I had gotten a book from someone, and it was a Nick Saban book, and it was, How Good Do You Want to Be? And I thought, how good do I want to be? And so I was coaching football, redefining my life. And I said, you know what? I've got to redefine my life's philosophy. And that's where the journey truly began for me. So I was sick. I was obese. I was unhappy. I was a people pleaser. I couldn't keep promises to myself. My marriage was not what I signed up for. Life was really, really working hard, and what I felt like was working hard against me. But of course, the common denominator in all of those situations was me. So I started to redefine my philosophy, and I wanted to take back control of my emotions. And so that's what I did. And that's what I want to teach you right now. If any of this has resonated with you, if you find yourself in a situation with the man that you are on the inside, the one that only you know, if you're not happy with who that man is, if you can't trust that man to come through for you or for your family, if you can't trust that man within you, you can't count on him when the going gets tough, because he always finds excuses to quit. If you find yourself in a state and you have a family, let's say you have a significant other, you have a family, you have a career, but you're believing the lie. Something in you is telling you that you're not good enough or you don't matter. If any of those things resonate with you, I want to help you right now. I want to help set you free. I started out this podcast by saying who you are is not who you have to be. So let me help you in transforming into the man that you want to be. Number one, I'm going to start with this because this is the most significant thing in my life, the most significant person in my life that has helped me over the last 15 years to transform into someone I had no idea that I can be. And that someone is Jesus Christ. That, my faith in Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit challenging me, teaching me, helping me grow. Nothing has changed my life more dramatically than my faith. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't have faith in Jesus and you want faith in Jesus to change your life, because that's truly the place where you're going to feel like you belong, where you're going to feel like your life is connected, when you're going to feel and understand that you are not alone in this walk. Email me, Quincy@mvsmpodcast.com. And that's where I would start, foundationally, with faith. Maybe you've walked away from your faith because you're frustrated with God, you're mad at God, you're disappointed in God. He's not afraid of that. And there are times in my life where I have been disappointed in God and frustrated. And I couldn't understand why things were the way they were in my life. But he has shown me that I am not alone. And I promise you, you are not alone either. And I'm here to help you on that part of the journey. So please send me a message. Number two, I started to build a new philosophy in life. One of the major parts of that philosophy is to live on purpose for a purpose. Live a life of intention. Live a life of purpose. The purpose that I have is drawn from my faith. It is my calling. It is who I was meant to be. And I'm transforming into the fullness of that each and every day. Thanks to the Lord in my life. Thanks to my willingness to be transformed and to understand that I don't have all the answers. So, how do you live an intentional life? I started by looking at men in my life that I admired. And I was listening to a podcast, and this is such a great exercise. I was listening to a podcast in the gym by Jay Ferrugia called on Renegade Radio. And it's called The Funeral Experience. And if you've already heard about The Funeral Experience before on this program or anywhere else, I would ask you to listen to it again. And matter of fact, I would ask you, if you've already done it, do it again. So here's The Funeral Experience. And I hope you're engaged with me here and that you are going to take responsibility and you're going to participate in this because it's going to change your life dramatically. So here's what Jay had to say. He said, look, fast forward to your death. They're in the church or the hall or wherever you are, having a celebration of life. There you are, laying in the casket. And one by one, your family, the people that you care about the most, get up and they speak about who you were in their life, what impact you made in their life. What words would you want those people you care about to say about the man that you are and were? And so that causes you to stop and think and say, well, heck, if my wife was up there, what would I want her to say about me? Quincy was always X, Y, or Z. I could count on Quincy to do X, Y, and Z. Quincy loved me more than any human being loved me on planet Earth. Quincy made me feel safe, etc., etc. And then I thought about my kids. What would I want my son, my daughters to say about me after my life was over? What impact, what legacy did I leave behind that they would aspire to and aspire to be? And how did I treat their heart? How did I impact their heart? And then some of my very close cousins and some of my very close friends. And I started to think about those things. And the next step of the exercise is, okay, come back to present day, knowing the things that you want people in your life that you care about to say about you after you have passed on. Is the life you are living now, if you do what you're doing every single day, is the life you're living now going to get you to that destination? And frankly, guys, where I was at, I said, no, it's not going to get me there. So I had to start mapping from the end back to the beginning. I had to come clean. I had to look at what changes I needed to make. Not how different I needed my wife to be, not how different I needed my boss to be, not how different I needed my friends or my kids or anyone else to be, because the only person I had a sense of control over in order to make any change was myself. And that's where I developed part of my philosophy, which is focus on the things that you can affect. And those are the things that I had to focus on. And I thought through some things as I was redefining my life. It's like, if I want to be X, Y, and Z, I thought of my Papa Moran. I thought of my grandpa. I thought of my dad. I thought of Nick Saban. I don't care if you laugh at me. Look at the product that he produced. I was a football coach. So I thought about these great men and some great women in my life. And I said, what attributes did they have that I admired? And how could I create those and apply them to my life moving forward in order to give me a roadmap to become that man I wanted to be, to become that man that I wanted my family to speak about in order to make an amazing and a positive impact in their life. And that's how I developed my new philosophy. That's how I developed my new life's philosophy. And in my mind, this I think is when um Lord of the Rings came out. Gandalf was there. Thus far and no more. Gandalf the Gray or White or whichever one it was. And so I became the gatekeeper of my emotions. I became the gatekeeper of my actions. I became the gatekeeper of what went out of my mouth. And then I asked the Lord on a continual basis to transform me, spending time in prayer, in meditation, spending time in the gym, redefining and redeveloping my body and my health, because I wanted a healthy body and I wanted a healthy mind and I wanted a healthy soul. Then I learned about Ed Milet, and he taught me something invaluable. And I built a philosophy called building internal credibility, which means, are you someone that you can count on? We all know those guys that we call if we're in need. We know the guys that we can call and we can count on them no matter what. Was I that man for myself? Was I someone that could say something and follow through? And if I wasn't, if I couldn't trust me, then how could I ask my wife to trust me? If I couldn't trust me, how could I ask my children to trust me? And so on and so forth. Even in my career, what experience was I creating for the people that I came in contact with? And could I be someone that they could count on? Guys, this is how you redefine and realign your life. This is how you change your life. And if you are making excuses right now on why you can't do it, you are the problem. But let me tell you this, you are also the one that can change things. Yeah, Quincy, well, you don't know my situation. Okay, I don't have to. Quincy, you don't know how my wife does X, Y, or Z. Quincy, you don't know about my children. Quincy, you don't know about my job. You're right, I don't. But in the purest form, I can tell you. I can tell you who you are right now is who I used to be. And you can email and you can ask my wife, you can ask my children, you can ask my friends. Heck, you might even be able to ask my employer. Probably not. Quincy at mvsmpodcast.com. Ask if I am a different man than I was 15 years ago. With the utmost confidence, I can tell you I am. With the utmost confidence, I can tell you I no longer seek to matter in people's lives because I know that I matter to the people that matter the most, and they are the ones that live under my roof. My significance, my calling, and my purpose is rooted in my faith in Jesus Christ. In my purpose, my first ministry is to my family, to my wife, and to my children. My first ministry is to be family famous, and that's to be famous under this roof. to the people in this home, to lead my family, to teach my family, to push them, to train them, to coach them, to mentor them with the very same skills that I had to learn to become the man I wanted to be. Because life is about who you are becoming. Quincy, what's the finish line? The finish line is an embrace by Jesus Christ. It says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter into the kingdom." That's the finish line. Eternity. Otherwise, I will continue to grow and to develop and to discover new things about myself, new things about my faith, and to strengthen, to deepen, and to further my relationships here on this planet. Because the other part of my purpose is what I'm doing right now for you, is to show you, if you are willing, what is possible. I'll say that one more time, to show you, if you are willing, what is possible. You know, one of the things that really, truly, or one of the people that truly helped me get my health in order is my dear friend, PJ Bowen. She awakened the warrior in me, the athlete that had gone dormant, that had fallen deep in a pit of disappointment. She challenged me to my core. She put the mirror up in front of my face, and she helped me look at myself and gain awareness about where I was in life. We all need someone in our life like that. Someone that loves you enough to challenge you to be a better you. That is what we need in this life. That is what we need as men. Someone to call us to action. And I'm telling you, the title of this podcast, this changed my life forever. And it's true. And I've never stopped growing over the last 15 years. So I want you to invest yourself into this personal excellence. There was a time where I wouldn't do things because I thought it had to be perfect or I wasn't going to do it. And that is another lie. Who said it has to be perfection? I have a different standard. I have a new standard, a transformed standard, which is, my standard is excellence, because excellence is achievable. Perfection is not. So as you are developing and like redesigning your life and who it is that you want to be, I want you to continually tell yourself to live on purpose for a purpose. Maybe you're single now and you're wondering, will I have a purpose? Do I have a purpose? How did I even find this podcast? Whether you're married or divorced or single, preparing to get married, you have a greater purpose. God made you to do great things, but those things are not going to happen unless you take action. You see, in life, we typically do what we see growing up. And then there are circumstances that happen within our life that we may not realize, but we internalize them. And then for years upon years, we believe a lie. We make something about us that was never about us. That's experience speaking. Jeannie can give you the same testimony. My cousin's the same testimony. Julia Gentry, whom I fondly refer to as Julia Gulia, because I love the wedding singer. Same for her. Another one of my philosophies is awareness is a weapon, and a weapon in the hands of a warrior can be a very powerful tool for victory. So, what are you going to do with what I've given you today? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to stop making the excuses that it has to be perfect or you're not going to do it? Are you willing to stop making the excuses of what everybody else's actions are? And that's what's preventing you from becoming the man that you want to be. Are you willing to reframe the idea that everything in life is happening to you to a brand new sense of purpose, which means everything in life is happening for you? Hat tip Ed Milet and whomever taught him that. I want to challenge you right now. I want to challenge you to go through these exercises. Use these tools that I gave you. Use the funeral experience. Use that. Look at yourself once you come back and you have identified and articulated the things you would want your family to say about you, the people that you care about. Be honest with yourself and say, "Hey, if I stay on the current path, will I get to that destination?" If the answer is no, you can fix it. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to consider men in your life that you admire and why you admire them. In my case, I added my mom in there, who was a single mother. She had grit and tenacity, and she worked her heart and soul out for us, for her 3 children. I added PJ Bowen in there because she had such an amazing effect on my life. But look at the people in your life. What do you admire? What attributes do you see in their life that you respect? Now, you might have to look at some things in your parents' life or whomever raised you and say, I don't want to be those things. Okay, that's understandable because I had a little bit of that too. I don't want to be this. Okay, well, then what do you want to be? And put your focus on who you want to be rather than what you do not want to be. One of those is offense to score, one of those is prevent defense, playing not to lose. And prevent defense is a loser. The next thing I want you to do is I really want you to take those pieces of information and write yourself a new philosophy. Become the gatekeeper of your life. Share it with me. How can I help you? The fourth thing I want you to do, which I started with as the things that were the most important, I want you to look at your faith. I want to ask you, are you leading your home in your faith? Are you leading a lifestyle of faith? And the fifth thing I want you to do is I want you to pay this forward. Maybe there's somebody you're thinking about that needs to hear this message. I'm a firm believer in this. The best advice you can give anybody in life is to be the example. So I recommend that first. And then share this with some people that you feel like could benefit from the message. And let me know what I can do to help you. I'm an email away. And I'm here to help you through servant leadership. Graham Cook, I'm going to leave you with this. Graham Cook, he had a saying that changed my life dramatically. And it was this: God's not interested in what you can't do. God's interested in what you're willing to do. And that's what he can work with. Obviously, that made it into a part of my new philosophy because I'm asking you the question, what are you willing to do? We have some other exercises that we can help you do if you want to define your relationship, if you want to define what kind of a parent you want to be. But this right here is foundational because you are the one that needs to be that example for your family. You, the one listening to this, if you're on video watching it, you are the one. You are the one that needs to lead the people in your ethos, in your sphere, into becoming who they want to be, helping them get connected to that purpose. And you may not have to say a word to any of them because they will see it by the transformation in your lifestyle. Ask me how I know, because that's happened with me. I want to thank you for making the time to listen to this episode and to my testimony about this exercise that changed my life forever. I didn't have anybody in my life to package this all up and put it together and deliver it to me like this. But I'll tell you what, I'm so thankful for the experiences I've had and the journey that I'm on that I have the opportunity to bring it to you. And then you can share it with other men. And we can positively impact our home and our culture and our society with strong male role models, with strong men, strong husbands, strong fathers, strong professionals. I'll ask you this question one more time. It goes like this. Who you are isn't who you have to be. Here's the question. What are you willing to do to get there? God bless you guys. This is Quincy Moran, and this is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.